It is likely that someone has approached you as you get nearer retirement to consider purchasing an annuity. And I have to tell you, from a sales standpoint, boy, are they hard to argue with until you begin to peel back the wrapper. If you've listened to Consider This program for a while, we have taught you the fiduciary focus, where you have to be interested in risk and volatility, fees and expenses, taxes today and tomorrow, and of course, real return, which is all about inflation. Buying an annuity fails to recognize that those four things really are the cornerstone to having a successful retirement. We're going to talk about the case against annuities on Consider This program today. Well, good morning and welcome back to Consider This program. I am your host, Joe Clark.
And I'm Adam Harter.
We are about to go on trial. I refuse to try to defend annuities because Adam will beat me over the head like a drum. We live in this world, folks, where people are searching for answers. You do not have to be under a rock to say, hey, this economy is crazy. This market is crazier. I'm not sure what is going on. I want to be able to retire, and I want to have some quote unquote certainty in my life. And the nice young man next door, the person who sits next to me at church, the guy on the radio or the guy on the TV are talking about this guaranteed income stream that I can have where I no longer have to worry any longer. All I have to do is make this irreversible decision to buy an annuity. Today, we're going to talk about the case against annuities. I will remind you, you can go to yourlifeafterwork.com, go to our website. We have a series of checklists. One of those is things that you need to consider before purchasing an annuity. Adam and I and Aaron Rayum, our director of financial planning, went down and we said, okay, if somebody were really going to buy an annuity, what are the 15 or 20 things that they ought to know? We put 7 or 8 of those in a checklist for you. It's free. Get it. If the person selling the annuity can't answer it, don't buy it. If you can't answer it, don't buy it. Right? And I'm sure we'll talk about one of the experiences Adam had here at some point. But Adam, go ahead as a CFA. Tell me your opinion.
Boy, we are going to need some time.
Yeah. No. Well, we got about 10 minutes.
No, it's such a hot topic for us, particularly in the CFA society. And first of all, just as I'll give you the case for, we use the term annuity, and it's such a broad term now. It's a structure. It's become a package. And a classic annuity, I still remain fascinated. It's like the only way you can perfectly match your two risks of you outliving your money and your money outliving you. It, as an insurance product and a classic traditional no frills annuity, has a place. I'll concede that. The problem is that structure is just used to inundate the public with products that they don't need. And it works because they know that our lizard brains won't do anything until we feel safe. And study after study, I could point you to, find that investors overpay for protection. And that theory, that property translates and transfers directly into this annuity purchase. We have to feel safe, and annuities provide that illusion of safety. When in reality, we investors and the annuity company or insurance company, they're investors too. They're taking that money and investing it. We're all picking from the same orchard. They are, we are. It's not like they can find more apples. They just are able to present it in a way that make you feel better, like you're going to come out of there with a better bushel.
And we're not going to do it. So it is, and you really have to get, the premise of how Adam started that. The original chassis for an annuity was you put money in immediately and started getting income immediately, right? And it was like a pension fund for all intents and purposes. And as he said, you were able to match the risk. Our job as asset managers and financial planners is to help you mitigate against risk and maximize reward. Right. So it is both. Right. It's not just about mitigating risk. It is about, you've got to have that return, that reward as well, so that you can have the future to be able to deal with inflation and everything else. So it is a perfect sales pitch that then gets diluted. That initial chassis that Adam talked about pays no commission. I mean, it's very, very, very minuscule. And so it's a whole lot easier for somebody to talk to you about something that's going to pay them 5, 7, 10% commission. So if you're putting in money, you can get into trouble. So the two big ones that we ought to hit are variable that have have riders on the side that have income guarantees, which sound really great. I will tell you, the first income rider that I saw, I think was 1997 in an annuity policy, and in all of the years I've been in the industry, I've seen it used twice. So a lot of people pay a huge amount of money for this, and I've seen it used twice. Then the second one is equity indexed annuities. And do you remember flinging the prospectus on my desk?
No, I don't.
You really don't?
No.
So I did a dinner talk. This was probably 2018 would be my guess. And an engineer had come in to see you. Adam doesn't see a lot of people, but there are a few from his church and other places that he do. I'm not even sure why you were talking to him, because I don't think it was a family friend. He had put $500,000 into an equity indexed annuity for him and $500,000 in for his wife. You got a hold of it and read every page in the prospectus. It's kind of like me sucking in the tax code. You came in and, like a bad Frisbee throw, threw the prospectus on my desk and said, if a CFA can't understand what's in here, nobody should be allowed to buy it. You turned around and walked out. It was the end of the discussion. Right?
I don't remember that. That sounds right.
It's and that's how complex it is. I mean, it's if somebody's managing a pension fund, ladies and gentlemen, or a mutual fund, you will probably see the credentials CFA behind their name. It's Chartered Financial Analyst. It's the highest designation you can have in the financial world, and that's what Adam is. That's why he's saying, when he's talking about the apples in the orchard, we're all building portfolios out of the same apples, right? I mean, they don't have in the annuity world more mechanisms than we have. They just put them into chassis where they choose to use what's called suitability. So somebody in a nice suit and tie with a nice presentation sits down with you or your parents and says, hey, here's this beautiful thing. It's going to satisfy all of your problems. It's going to give you certainty for the future, and you can't lose money. What can possibly go wrong, right? And you agree to do it without going back and reflecting on that fiduciary focus. Remember, risk and volatility, fees and expenses, taxes today and tomorrow, and real return. And that's really where people get into trouble.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't see the volume of people you do, but we have the same result. Those income riders that are purchased, which are the very nature of what make them sound appealing. That's what sells them on the TV, radio, whoever is selling them. It is the income rider that sounds appealing. The only way they're used is if you pull the trigger at the right time. And that right time could be a window of like 5 years. Nobody does it. Nobody pulls the trigger on what could make that even work out. That's why we're just even if it works out on paper, nobody's there to tell you when to actually start the income so that you get your return.
So we recently had, just to add a little bit of more color and reflection on this, people understand how compound interest works, at least on the outset. Right? I mean, you all know Einstein said it was the eighth wonder of the world. He wasn't sure what the other seven were. Compound interest is huge. It's why we work on investment returns and we pay attention to 0.5 point in fees. And, we do all of the stuff that we do to work hard to get those investment returns where they need to be. Do not underscore inflation. If you retire today, I've got a friend who's retiring at 55 and has a nice pension. And, we ran the inflation numbers. If they agree to die on time, that's our life expectancy, which is 84 and a half. Their pension has to be almost 3 times greater, right? 29 years from now than what it is today in order to have the same purchasing power. And that's around a 3% inflation rate. We're not talking about 4, 5, and 6. And when you go buy those annuities that sound and feel so good today, people fail to recognize the life plan that they really have before them that they need to get into. So back to the one you threw on the desk, right? The other thing, when I went down because you were in the old office then, I went down the hallway, and you said, I can show them exactly where they're paying 3.2% a year in fees, and I think it's 4%. Now imagine that, right? So you've got engineers who, we take care of more than 250 engineers. between Lilly, Caterpillar, the old General Motors, Delphi, these are smart people, right? And they're not just going to throw $1 million around like it's no big deal. And when you've got somebody who is very, very bright, good with numbers, and is agreeing to pay between those two annuity products more than $40,000 a year inside of internal fees and expenses, talk about paying for protection that, is overboard, but protection that you don't use, right? This is not like a buying fire insurance for your house, right? You hope you never use it, right?
Exactly.
But when you buy these annuities with those income riders, you're intending to use it. You're giving up, and you don't even want to do the math on what 4% of fees cost you over a 20-year period of time. I don't care how much the investment is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I don't know for certainty if it's on that version of the checklist, but if somebody is offering you one and it does sound appealing, at least ask them what the income would be in a classic chassis. What is the income in a traditional annuity? And at least compare those two things for a start.
No, it's not on the checklist. It's more like, what does the investment part cost? What is the mortality expense fee? And I don't think I even put on the checklist, ask them how much they're getting paid. I didn't want to be that cold-hearted, because, that's really immaterial. When you agree to buy a car, if the salesman's making $5,000 or making $2,000, it doesn't matter to you. You have a price, right? So it's not. I mean, I think the fee structure creates problems where people will sell you things they wouldn't normally sell you if they weren't compensated as highly as they were, right? I do believe that. But that's not on the checklist. It's the other types of questions that you need to ask about to get to the internal stuff, that if somebody's going to sell it and they're going to make 5 to 10% on selling you the product, they darn well ought to be able to answer the questions. And, the people who have used this have always said, well, they go back to their manager and come back with answers. And in one case, they didn't come back. So I don't know if they quit. I don't know what happened, but we've been able to rescue a lot of people. And if you've already got an annuity, folks, there are things you can do to make better decisions today. Just because it says you've got a 5 or 7 year surrender or 10-year surrender penalty, don't just take that at face value. Come see us, 800-928-4001, or go to yourlifeafterwork.com. Get signed up for a Next Steps meeting. We'll review what you've got, give you things to consider today, things to consider in the future, and if we choose to partner together, what FEG will do for you, and we'll put it in writing.